Hey bro, Eco update number 3 or whatever we're on. I'm guessing at this point you're starting to get a little frustrated with the process and you're questioning my sanity. And I don't blame you. I got frustrated myself recently and I made a blunder that I'll explain to you. I did make a blunder in this process yesterday that I'll explain to you. It is a tedious process and it does seem redundant, but have faith in the system. So let's take a few steps back and think about what actually is driving this to work. Overall, I'm definitely seeing the results in it. I did mess up yesterday, but that was just my stupidity. It's not the formula itself that's wrong, you know? So let's take a step back and think about why this actually works. Goal is ecos, right? And there's two, I'm going to use a different color. There's two approaches to this. Um, Strategy number one is the easy way, and it's just to keep your existing blue galaxy. Like, why even bother deleting it in the first place, right? Just keep your blue galaxy 100, 120, whatever, and hit your hover 15 times a day. That's strategy number one. Strategy number two is delete and weird shit. Right? So let's break them down. Question number one is, do you generate 15 FSP daily? Because if you're only generating 10 FSP daily, depending on how much you have in storage, a person, I should say, I know that you're kind of down to the wire, same as me. So depending on how many of those that you have in storage, if you're generating less than 15 a day, you'll eventually deplete your inventory and the project kind of comes to a stop, right? So that's problem number one. Problem number two is the cost of BG and the weight against the double dip benefit, right? So hypothetically, let's say you have 10,000 FSP in storage, so you could, and you don't generate any a day, but you have 10,000 in storage, you could theoretically just keep running BG ad infinitum and hitting hover with every single charge, right? That's a possibility, and you would definitely get the eco project done at that point. But the cost of BG itself becomes kind of prohibitive. So you might have 10,000 forge points in storage, but do you have, or 10,000 FSP in storage, but do you have 10 million forge points to actually sustain that double dip process? That's problem number two. Problem number three, and this is kind of the big one. Does Eco really give FSP kits? And we know that it does, and we know that sometimes you get the 2x hit on Blue Galaxy, but we've both noticed, Eric noticed this as well, that's one of the things that we were talking about, that the percentage is not the 40-60 or 30-70 split or whatever it's supposed to be. The percentage really doesn't match that. Um, that's kind of the root issue. So in this second scenario where we have 10,000 FSP to play with, we can definitely get the eco project done. But then going forward, unless you're collecting on PC, which I usually don't, I usually play mobile. So unless you're collecting on PC, and I mean, there's the 30% chance of FSP is closer to 10% in my opinion. I haven't really sat down and recorded those collections, but it doesn't seem like 30% to me. Out of the 9 ecos that I have, I'm lucky if I get one that hits FSP every day, let alone a double collection on it, right? So the root issue with this strategy is that after we finish this eco project, after we burn 10,000 FSP kits on it, are we actually gonna build a city that regenerates those FSP kits? To me, the eco project is to increase forge point production, and the FSP needs to come from a different source, in my opinion, because eco is unpredictable, right? And if you do it on PC, you can see which one's gonna give FSP, but you don't even know if it's going to be doubled. So you could, I mean, at that point, there's really no point in hitting it with Blue Galaxy at all. You could just auto collect your city and get what you get, you know? That becomes the root issue. So the eco project, if it does increase FSP, that's just a bonus to me, but I don't want to depend on that for that purpose. I want the forge points out of it. So that's scenario number one. Let's look at scenario number two. There's obviously a lot of cons with my my theory here. Uh, First and foremost, you're deleting a blue galaxy, so that's the obvious con. The early levels are also really low percentage, so that's a con. But once you get into the sweet spot, I'm at level 50 right now. Benefit number one, though, is that with 23 Sun Havens, I can actually run through two levels of Blue Galaxy at 12 charges per level. That'll fill up 2 BG levels, and at level 50 on BG, it cost me fucking 200 forge points to flip it. So it's a disposable level to me. And even on a Sun Haven, even if you don't get a double, 16 times 23 pays for the cost of the Blue Galaxy level. So it's a disposable level, right? And then I do something different on the third level, but the 23 Sun Havens getting used on Blue Galaxy charges versus scenario number one, which we're looking at, like if you're looking at a Blue Galaxy 150, every single charge is kind of meaningful or important, right? So like you're not going to use a Blue Galaxy charge on BG 150 to hit a nightmare box, right? For store kits. That just doesn't make sense, because you need every single one of those charges to be purposeful, because the cost of the level prevents you from running another level just to hit other weird shit, you know what I mean? But at level 50, hitting 23 Sun Havens with individual BG charges cost me nothing. It cost me 200 forge points. And if I can't complete phase 1 of this project by the time I reach Blue Galaxy 110, I'll just delete it again and rinse and repeat. It makes no difference to me. I'm not emotionally attached to my Blue Galaxy. The end goal is to generate these kits as fast as possible, and Blue Galaxy level 50, I think I got, I ran 3 levels today. I think I got, I'd say probably 40% batting average, maybe 30%. It's never as much as NO says it's going to be. So if NO says the probability is 50, it's probably closer to 35. But still, that speeds up this process that much faster, and it cost me 200 forge points a day. Easy peasy. Second key part here is that there's no FSP spent on those Sun Havens though. So I'm using 2 disposable Blue Galaxy levels to increase my daily FSP production. And then the third level, I've just been hitting my 9 ecos and then FSP hover to finish off the charges. So usually 3 or 4 FSP kits applied to the hover itself just to burn up the remaining BG charges. But I'm definitely not hitting hover 15 times a day with BG and FSP, because it's a waste of FSP kits with the percentage at BG 50. I am going to do that once I get BG up to 100. That's definitely the end goal of this process, but it's a waste of the FSP kits now. On that note, here's where I fucked up yesterday. I used FSP on Sun Havens. Big mistake. That was a big dumb brain moment right there. I totally understand the impatience and I need to get this done. I need more FSP kits. So I'm going to collect BG. I did all normal 23 Sun Havens with BG as normal. But then I went back through, ran another BG level, and FSP'd all the Sun Havens again. Because the end goal is to generate more FSP kits, right? Stupid. I'm stupid for doing that. You need 330 FSP kits applied to Sun Haven to generate enough jesters to increase your daily FSP collection by 1. The math did not add up there. It's just impulsive and impatient. I want to get this project done. The whole purpose of deleting Blue Galaxy was to speed up the process. I'm getting about 2 jesters a day, which is awesome. That's definitely on pace with what I predicted at the beginning of it. But the impatient part of me is like, man, I want 4 jesters. I just want to be done with this. Can I put the Sun Havens back in storage yet? So this was stupid. Don't do that. Definitely delete Blue Galaxy, but don't do that part. That was really dumb. The end goal is to actually save those FSP for hover, right? That is the purpose of this project, and I get the frustration on some of these lower levels of Blue Galaxy where it's like, man, was this even worth it? I deleted my Blue Galaxy. I got one double today, so yay. You know, I'm fucking 1% ahead of the curve now. Is it really even worth it? But I do think it will be, and the key is to save those FSP kits towards the actual project, which is hover, right? So, boil it all down. The advantage with scenario number 2, which is delete BG, the advantage here, advantage number 1 is that we're using disposable Blue Galaxy levels to increase daily FSP production. So the first problem in scenario number 1 is, yeah, you could just keep your Blue Galaxy at level 150 and use 15 FSP kits on hover every single day, but if you're not generating 15 FSP kits, if you're generating 5 or 4 or something like that, you're not only burning up 10 per day, with the hope of replacing that with ecos once you get that. That's the hope, right? But that's definitely not a guarantee, and we've already figured that out. So that's the hope. That's problem number 1. But problem number 2 is the next time a building comes out where you're like, wow, I really want fucking 50 of those, you've already burned up your stockpile of FSP on the eco project and not necessarily getting the return out of it. So the advantage with scenario number 2 is that we're using disposable Blue Galaxy levels to increase daily FSP production on a sustainable level, right? Like, these jesters are guaranteed to give FSP kits every single day. And they're not as flashy as an eco, but if they're giving FSP, no questions asked, I want that in my city, right? Because I can budget around that. If I'm getting 15 FSP guaranteed from jesters, and then the possibility of 10 more from the rest of the city, I'm not emotionally attached to the bonus 10. If I get them, that's great, but if I don't, I know that my inventory is not going to get depleted. Does that make sense? So that's advantage number 1 with the delete strategy, is that it's actually increasing the daily FSP production for the entire city. And that's why it's phase number 1. And that's why I broke it into several different phases, because phase 1 is just to increase daily FSP production. And once we hit that, we can delete BG again and then start actually capitalizing on the FSP that we're accumulating. Does that make sense? Benefit number 2 is progress towards eco. So I've actually printed 3 eco kits fresh since I've deleted Blue Galaxy, and just kind of lazy hitting hover with the 2 or 3 leftover FSP charges that I have to burn every day. But I've actually been able to print 3 additional eco kits using so on average I'm getting about 18 or 19 FSP daily right now, but the lowest I've seen was down to 15, and that's where those variable buildings like Eco, Celtic Glassworks, Sailmakers, that's where that variable comes in, where they're not guaranteed to get FSP. So you get 19 FSP kits one day and you're like, sweet, I'm golden, fucking send it. But then the next day you get 12, and it's just not sustainable, right? So I'm trying not to burn up a whole lot of FSP kits on hover until I get into Blue Galaxy 80 or 90, where the probability is more predictable, you know. But even on these lower levels, I've still generated 3 eco kits, just with a couple FSP kits here and there. So definitely still making progress towards the end goal, but increasing daily FSP in the process. So I've added 15, 16 jesters so far, so almost 2 FSP kits daily. Totally justified to me, and the only thing really that I've invested into this is fucking store items, which I've included into this formula, so I'm replenishing those faster than I can use them at this point. And then just the pride of having a Blue Galaxy 150, you know, that's the only thing that it's cost me. All my Neo shit's in inventory, but it's not deleted, so this literally cost me nothing to delete Blue Galaxy, increase my FSP, get a few eco kits in the process, but mostly just increase daily FSP production, delete Blue Galaxy again, and then hammer hover, and at the end of it all, it's literally just cost me um, the pride of deleting Blue Galaxy, like I said. Benefit number 3, and final benefit here, you can hit SailMakers if you want to. Why not? And remember from the previous little chart that I made, I said it would be insanity to use your Blue Galaxy charges on a Nightmare box if your Blue Galaxy's at 150, right? But at Blue Galaxy level 50, if you want to burn up Blue Galaxy charges on a building that gives 4 forge points and the possibility of FSP kits, it's only 6 FSP fragments if it does hit. So it's a gamble if it even hits, let alone doubles. But if you want to burn up your Blue Galaxy charges on that with a Blue Galaxy 50, fuck it. Why not? It doesn't matter. Like, it, worst case scenario, you just get doubled the finished goods production thing, right? But hey, best case scenario, you get half of a FSP kit and it costs, I mean, what's 200 divided by 12? It costs like fucking 10 forge points to make that happen. But the FSP kit is worth it. Does that make sense? So that's advantage number 3, and that kind of ties back into the disposable Blue Galaxy levels, where I'm not emotionally attached to what doubles or what doesn't off of Blue Galaxy, because I can just run fucking 10 more levels, and if it gets to the point where I'm at Blue Galaxy 120, it's like, it's not cost effective to double dip anymore. Fuck it, delete it again, and start Blue Galaxy levels 0 through 10 by hitting Sailmakers and Celtic Glassworks. Low probability, right? So I'm not going to waste FSP kits on it. Just burn up the Blue Galaxy levels on something that gives FSP. And then once I get into the 20s and 30s, start hitting Sun Havens and Ecos again. Does that make sense? Definitely going to be a process, but way faster than scenario number 1, where you just sit there with Blue Galaxy 120, do 15 charges a day, hope you get something.